Alright, so I've just created a binary destination selector. And let me go into a little bit of detail about what that means actually. Um, I'm working on a minecart rail system that allows you to essentially put a data minecart that contains a string of items ahead of yourself, and then have this data minecart be sent through a network. So for example, let me just prepare a data minecart here, and if we put in a wooden sword, that means that we're going to turn at some sort of junction. And if we put on a shear, it means we'll just go the default path. So let's say we're going to turn, and in this case that means we're going to turn left, and then we're going to go straight and then turn. So let's go straight and then one final turn. And then you see it ends up there. And let me get my minecart. And we should turn left. Oh no, wait, never mind. Yeah, I set it so that wooden swords make it turn the other way there. Yep, and we go straight through this one, and here we should turn right. Perfect. And so you see how with that we can essentially use a string of items to define a path through some sort of rail system. Only problem is building that string of items is a bit of work, and I think I've solved that here. So the way it works is we've got an 8-bit toggle button panel on the front here. You can just toggle these bits on and off. And yep, and it works like that. And so what that allows us to do is to select certain items in a sequence. See, here we've got all our swords, and here we've got all our droppers, and then we can conditionally determine whether or not we want to send power to them based off of what's selected here. And see, if it's activated, we're going to send a sword in that slot, and if it's not activated, we're going to send a shear, right? And then we can just clear it all away there, send it back to normal, and then this is to write out your bits. But in addition, because it's annoying to have to fill in all these extra items because they're unstackable, I wanted to make this a little bit more efficient and say that you could select how many bits you want to use, right? So in a big rail network, you might only need to take 3 turns to go from one station to another, so why even bother putting in the other 5 items to make a whole 8-bit byte? So that's what this is here. Essentially, it's just a book where you flip to whatever destination you want. So let's say I want to go to the cactus farm. That's 110. It's a 3-bit destination, we see, so that means we have to put in 110 here using these last 3 bits, right? And then we can write it. And then we should see sword, sword, shear. Yes. Perfect. And then we can clear it. Now, if you have selected if you've selected some sort of a bit length, and then you start messing with stuff further back here. So let's take this out. Now, imagine we try to write something that has higher bits selected. Nothing happens because those droppers don't receive any power. So, oh yeah, because we still had the 3 shears there. So, yeah, so we're not actually going to receive any information from these first 5 bits. And yeah, so that's exactly as expected. And then of course we can clear. Let's say we want to do something more like a 5-bit destination. Let's say we want to go to Spawn Town. That's 3 wooden swords and then 2 shears. So let's put that in. You can see our blocks get into position so that when we pulse the right input, we get our output here. And we're looking for 3 swords followed by 2 shears. Perfect. And so the idea is, with this system, that you can take what's in this chest as like a binary stream of bits, and then funnel that directly into your minecart here, right? And then that minecart will automatically route to whatever station you define there. So in there we had 11100, right? So that means we would turn here, then turn, and then turn, and then don't turn, and then don't turn. And so essentially what you can do is define bit sequences that represent whether or not you're turning at a certain junction. And at each junction, we just have a simple, I guess, reader that pops off the last bit in the chest and then determines whether or not it's fuel, which is why we use wooden swords and shears in the first place. And if it is fuel, then we do the switch. So that makes our swords essentially the 1 and the shears the 0. And with that mechanic, if it's fuel, it starts cooking in the smoker, and that acts as sort of a pulse extender, meaning that there can be some decent distance between your cart and the chest cart, the data cart, and it's perfectly safe, and it's pretty reliable. And so essentially all you need to do is build one of these at every station, and all you would need to do is input a certain code, press right, and then get in a cart. And you could be instantly automatically routed to whatever destination you want. Now granted, you also need to make sure that you select the proper bit length, right? But this is rather straightforward. You can even remove the bit length thing if you want, if you just want to always use 8 bits to avoid that extra step in the user experience. You can just literally get rid of these pistons here and just make sure that these cyan blocks stay in place. Yeah, I think that is about it. Let me quickly go over this button panel because it's actually pretty nice. I was originally inspired by a smaller YouTuber who posted a video of this like in 2014, and it's a silent essentially button toggle that's tileable. So the way it works is it unpowers both of these hoppers for a short moment, and in that moment the item swaps back and forth 3 times, meaning that every time you press the button it'll end up in a different hopper because it goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and you see how it flips back and forth. Now granted, this means that it only works with stone buttons, but I don't think that's too much of a hassle. And so then I also took the liberty of adding onto it by adding a reset button, and what that does is it first of all immediately unpowers, so it essentially provides input to all buttons at the same time, and then provides an extended pulse to the back hopper, which means that we allow every hopper to dump its contents back into the back, deactivating each one, right? And then they're all reset. And so that's exactly what I do here with this reset. It's literally just the same thing, but for 8 bits instead of 4. And then up here we have our item storage, and yeah, they're unstackable items. So what you probably want to do is just make huge item silos and just spam tons and tons of shears and wooden swords, so you don't have to worry about ever refilling this. But it should last quite a while. I mean, even this will last, I don't know what, like 20 destination selections at the very minimum, not including what's in these hoppers. So it should be quite durable. And in the future, I will be uploading a video with a fully functioning proof of concept where I've got several of these stations set up. And then hopefully I'll be able to set up like a full-on automatic cargo routing network. But yeah, subscribe if you want to see that, and thanks for watching.